What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. I want to hit you up with another episode of the podcast. You guys voted, you spoke, you wanted me to talk about golf. There are some golfers out there, not gophers. Gopher? Gopher. There are some golfers out there, and I want to tell you a little story here, which I found out. This is a true story. I can't make it up. It came up because of some other interesting things that came up. I guess that's called the Lake Zurich Golf Club. That's what I want to say it's called. It is a private club. It's not more than a dozen miles from where I live. And one of the reasons that it came up on my radar is I was looking for small private golf courses that might be actually affordable. So a buddy of mine, Bjorn, lives up in Minneapolis, and they have some golf courses that actually have waiting lists to become a member, but they're really cheap. They're, I don't know, $400 a year, $500, $600 a year. I don't know what the cost is. But for the average golfer like me, you're probably going to get your money's worth out of that, even with a short golf season. And it's not one of those things where you're going and it's roast beef night Friday, and then we're going to have bocce ball. It's just more like it's a golf course. It's probably maintained okay, but it's certainly not Augusta National or anything like that. But it's just your place, especially if fits your game. It's a place where you can pull out the long stick or try your new free flex shaft that I just picked up here. I'm going to give this a try because I think this might allow me to build the longest driver I have ever played. We'll see. But I was looking around, just doing a little Googling, and I found this place, 9 holes, pretty close, called the Lake Zurich Golf Club or something like that, something pretty generic. And it said private, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. No pictures of a fancy clubhouse, so yeah, maybe this is something in my wheelhouse. So I do a little research on it, and it turns out that the Lake Zurich Golf Club has something of a spooky, sinister past. And as I go down this rabbit hole, turns out that there are a number of places that have reported on this in the past. Apparently people are okay with it. So apparently on the golf course, there are a number of dead, buried bodies. And not alien bodies, I don't think, but they are human bodies buried around the golf course. Let's go back in time. Don't forget that today's episode is brought to you by me. I want to thank me for helping make me happen here. That is today's sponsor. But as I look at it, what ends up happening is that the Lake Zurich Golf Club is like a member-owned and run golf course. So as far as I can tell, there's a sign-up sheet to become a member. I would say that from what I can tell, most people are maybe self-employed or retired. And so it's understood, I can't speak to this firsthand, but it's understood that as a member, you're going to put in more than your golfing time there, that you are going to be part of the cleanup day. You're going to be part of keeping the course mowed. You're going to clean up the clubhouse, all these things. It's really, truly like ownership in the fact that the place will be in whatever condition people leave it. I like that. It's kind of like a golf co-op or something, maybe a little bit more accurate. But one of the things that ended up happening some years ago, and super, super long ago, but when they were putting in mass transit in Chicago, they were going to run what I think is now called the Metro. So it was going to be a train coming from the city out to Lake Zurich, and there was going to be a stop, and the train line was going to run through there. Why not? There's a lot of open land. It's a golf course, for crying out loud. And at the time, the golf course, only 9 holes, pretty small membership, but I won't call them powerful or elite, but the membership had apparently a doctor or some doctors that worked out in the city of Chicago. And as they were discussing their options about stopping the transit authority from eminent domaining their land, which happens all the time. I just got done fighting some greenway land, some wetland area that was going to be turned into tollways, like $4 a mile tollways, no less. So what a win-win that got killed. But they have been trying to pave over everything, pave parking lot, and apparently they were going to put the train through this golf course, and I don't know if they compensated or whatever, but the guys wanted to protect their land. So these doctors and maybe an attorney on their membership group or something found out that the transit authority could not build the railroad through burial lands. So apparently can't displace cemeteries, things like that. I don't know about pet cemeteries, but at least with human remains. And so legend has it is that some of these doctors brought up cadavers. I think generally Jane Doe's, John Doe's, things, and people that couldn't be identified, maybe people that were donated to science, and had them buried surreptitiously and unmarked around the course to almost make it impossible for them to be found. And so by doing that, it disqualified the transit authority from building the railroad through there. Now, there is, I think there's a Lake Zurich metro stop. There's one in Vernon Hills, Mundelein. There are a bunch around here. So somehow they figured out where to put their stop. But the Lake Zurich Golf Club still exists. 9 holes. They still have a website, Facebook page up. They still post some pictures. Not really actively recruiting, as far as I can tell, or soliciting for members because they don't have any messages like that. But what I thought is interesting is that there still might be dead bodies buried on the golf course. And they probably don't need them anymore. But once they're up there, it's probably easier to leave them up there. So I just thought that was interesting. Apparently, a number of places have reported that's true. Apparently, that is the reason they were exempted from being considered for the train line or the train stop. So I don't have any reason to say that it's not. I don't have any evidence that there are bodies there. It may turn out to be an urban legend. If there are, does that matter? If they're buried 6 feet under, does that matter? Would that matter to you when you're driving? Yes. If you put a ball in the green a couple feet from the hole and then you see that hand come up through the ground and grab that ball and throw it off the green, yeah, you should probably get relief. You should be able to place that ball back. But aside from the zombie hand on the green, that probably wouldn't matter to me. I still wouldn't mind becoming a member there if the price is right and I get to golf whenever I want and I have a place of your own. Wouldn't know what that's. Never been a member of a private club like that, but just thought it was interesting. Just as I was looking at that, as I was initially thinking maybe that would be an option for me, a famous story there. The lengths that people will go to protect their golf game knows no bounds, really. So that's all I wanted to say. Story for today. True story. Check it out. If you find more information on it, I would love to get more details on that. Or if there's anyone out there that actually has the inside scoop, hey, come on my channel. I'll love to get the skinny from you. That's it for today. Peter Von Panda, out.